Welcome back, niggas and bitches. This is the Last Time We Spoke podcast. As always, like, share, and subscribe, comment, rate, all that good stuff. I am Steph.
I'm back, bitches, and you hoe-ass niggas. Shout out to the Trill, International Joe, back on the scene.
Fresh off eating the fish sandwiches.
Yep.
It's your boy Dullah from Naptown, West Side, though.
And again, this is the last time we spoke. Action-packed episode this go round. Joe's going to tell us about his globe trotting and the multiple fish sandwiches he was devouring while he was globe trotting, globe hopping. After that, reaping the power of positivity. Some of the benefits you gain from having a positive outlook on certain things. And lastly, the difference between empathetic white folks versus the oblivious one, as far as dealing with racial topics and so on and so forth. But with that being said, join us, kick your feet up. Some of y'all be ready to be offended. This is the last time we spoke. How y'all brothers been?
Great. Shit. Feel amazing, brother.
Good. Everything's good.
Yeah, I'm alive, so that's pretty much what I'm at with it right now.
Hey, man, that's like, shit. I know you just facetious, but that's a blessing. Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's the foundation of everything. You got another 24 hours on this earth. You got 24 hours to get a lot of shit done that you couldn't get done the day before. So pretty much how I'm looking at it at this point. But Joe, tell us about you've been MIA past couple F's. What you been up to, brother?
Well, so yeah, we went to Norway, Italy, Greece, and Egypt. Norway, we went to Oslo. It was a layover, a long layover. We intentionally picked a place with a long layover so we can get out and do some shit. And all we did was, take in the culture, look at the environment. It didn't do too much there since there was, like you said, a layover. But it's a cool place to be. A lot of black people. It's not what I thought it was. Even like what I know about the world. I know every place is gonna have people of different cultures and backgrounds, but I thought of the Nordic countries as a homogeneous place where, like, it's so much of a majority that the few people who are the ethnic minority are going to be few and far between. Shit, got off the plane and it was black people working in the airport. Got to the city and there was black people like everywhere. One of the bus drivers, we took the bus. One of the bus drivers was black. Like a lot of black people there. It's a beautiful country. Didn't do much there. Venice was a whole different story. A city with a lot of history. A city that's unique in that it's set up on water with a canal system. They take boats pretty much anywhere they have to go. And if they're not on a boat, it's a walkable city, don't get me wrong. But for the main thoroughfares, there are canals. The architecture, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it has obvious Islamic influences. Hell, I got a couple pictures of some statues. One of them was built into the building. Another one is a statue on the building. One is, they're both supposedly statues of Moorish, which anybody knows the Moors were Islamic merchants. So this place has a history of like trade, maritime trade. So you see a lot of that in the building, in the architecture. Like here in America, you're gonna be like, well, a black person could have did this, or a black person could have did that, but you know how a lot of people do when it comes to history and giving credit, so you're not sure. Now, when you got a building with certain type of design that reflects a certain place or a certain ideology, you can't deny that shit. And to their credit, not projecting, they're not denying it. And there's also an area, the first ghetto, they were the first people, this ain't something I'm bragging on, shit. Not that I brag on this shit anyway. They had the first ghetto, they were the first people to separate, from my understanding, they were the first people to separate Jewish people into ghettos. And they had a historical Venetian ghetto, Jewish ghettos. And if anybody hearing this, it's not ghetto in a contemporary, the connotation you might think of, like the hood, like being downtrodden. It's just the term ghetto, where it comes from. And still a lot of Jewish people who live there. It's a nice place. Got a lot of walking done. Did a lot of walking, saw a lot of beautiful sights. It was a new experience. Had some good food. I don't think anybody listening to this, well, I hope nobody listening to this would think to go to Venice to eat pizza, but don't eat no damn pizza in Venice, man. Like, that ain't what you go there for. You do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, you are you. Do what you want to do. If you want to eat McDonald's, they got that too. So, do what you're going to do, but, like, try to take in some of the local culture. Be a fly on the wall. Don't go around there trying to tell people how to live their lives. Like, there's this thing where Brother Steph alluded to, well, not alluded to, he explicitly said, like, being a typical American tourist, like, knowing damn well you're in a foreign country, expecting everybody to speak English, expecting everybody to be there to serve you. Even if they're there to make money, they're not there to serve you. And keep that in mind. Went from Venice to Santorini, Greece, which is in the Greece, Cyclades or Cyclades, however you pronounce that chain of islands. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's in the caldera, like it was a volcano, active volcano that erupted sometime in ancient times, and it, like the eruption wasn't a full-on, like how you see in most volcanoes, like stuff that's spewing up the top. The full-on thing like that, it erupted and it caused some of the mountain to sink in, and it collapsed internally, and that area filled up with water. And it's thought to be the place that inspired the tale of Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis. And they used some of that for tourism. But it's a beautiful place. We went diving. First time I went out and got to dive, I've always wanted to do it. Did it here. Water's pristine. It's blue from you can see it's blue from the cliffs. We stayed in the village of Ia, spelled O-I-A, but it's pronounced Ia. And that, if you Google Santorini, that's the place that's probably going to come up in pictures, is Ia. Like these, like, white and beige houses, and you see these blue domes, and the blue domes are churches. But it's this picturesque village. It's beautiful. But yeah, you can see the water's blue from up there. We down there, it's a whole different type of blue. It's like a bluish green, like, but it's very clear. In some spots it's blue. Shit, fuck. But first time diving. Like, to anybody who out there who's thinking about it, if you are not comfortable in the water, that's not the thing to do, because you have to have comfort, because stuff goes wrong. Obviously, you're underwater, and you can lose your life that way. But like, you have to be comfortable, because you're dealing with equipment, you're dealing with a certain amount of oxygen in a tank, and if you expend that, you're doing damage to yourself, obviously. But new experience that I must have been waiting on a lifetime, both because I knew I was waiting for it and it was waiting for me, because, pardon the pun, but I took the water just like that, man. Like, here, like, I got the bug, man. Like, I'm going to be doing some diving. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is that was an experience. To experience it in such a beautiful place where the water was so pristine is unfair to probably most of the world and what I'd experienced in some other places, but nevertheless it happened, and I'm eternally grateful. A lot of people there, man, like it was a tourist hotspot, like what do you call it? Cruise ships pull in like every day, so loads of people come, and you're gonna see lots of different people. You're gonna see Black people, East Asian people, whoever's on that ship, and whoever came to visit. It's not like they restricted people from coming to visit, so don't take this comment out of hand. But like, there's a lot of diversity. What's up?
I was gonna say, man, I'm a fat boy. Not for all the listeners, not literally, but at heart. So tell us a little bit about the dishes. The food everywhere you went.
Oh,
we had the best food.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Some of the stuff you
all right, the best. Well, it's not fair. I'll do that. The best, I'm going to give it to Venice, a place not known for food. It's just the food that I got there. But it was simple as pasta, man. Pasta, well, basically spaghetti with cuttlefish and cuttlefish ink. So it's black. It looks like worms and dirt, man. It looks like worms and dark mud. That shit tastes delicious. And pasta ragu, al ragu, just meat sauce and spaghetti. That shit was amazing. And calamari. That's what we ate pretty much every day in Venice. That shit was delicious.
I'll be on that calamari.
Yeah, that shit was man. But like I said, Athens, delicious food, Indian food. We didn't eat because we had just come from another part of Greece, so I didn't feel like you gotta really get into the local cuisine. It wasn't too much different, even though the Santorini was an island. Athens, we had Indian food, the best Indian food I had, and I love Indian food. So that said something for me. There's a restaurant called, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but yeah, delicious Indian food. Santorini, we had, the first night we got there, everything was closed pretty much, so we went to this one place and I had spaghetti, you know what I'm saying? And my lady had, what the fuck did she have? This local chicken dish, and it was like, and I forget what it was called. That shit was delicious. But then we had gyros, we were eating gyros and shit. Egypt, that's where we had the most diverse range of food. Because as much as I'm a quote-unquote foodie, I think that's when I found something, just because of the time constraint, and I'm the type of motherfucker, I don't like spending money on something and I don't like it. Like, I feel like that's the biggest waste of money ever. Like, when I buy some fucking food and that shit is nasty. So when I found something I like, a place I like, I kept going there and I tried different things. But Egypt, they had this dish called kosheri. And it's just like, it reminded me so much of my upbringing, so much of like Black people being creative, being innovative, and shit, poor people being innovative. It's rice. They have like rice, macaroni, spaghetti, chickpeas, and lentils with fried onions with like this tomato sauce. And you can use like this lemon oil and hot sauce, and you mix that shit up, man. When I tell you there ain't a piece of meat in that shit, but that shit was so good, and because of all them damn carbs, that shit was so filling, man. Like, that shit was delicious. That was the one local thing that they do have, but the rest of it is like standard Middle Eastern fare. You had shawarma, kebabs and shit. Ate goddamn falafel for breakfast. And everywhere we went, like, I'm a tea drinker anyway, but they'd offer you tea. And, like, I normally don't put sugar in my tea or coffee or anything except for shit that's already sugared. So they're like, man, like, he's like, oh, I was like, all right, I'll take something. He's like, now you're Egyptian. Like, it was me not letting my guard down, because I didn't have a guard, but I know who I am and I know what I like. But at the same time, I'm not going anywhere to offend somebody. So I let them do what they did. And to them, that was something that made me more receptive than the average American who comes there and who's just insistent on projecting their culture onto them. Like, that really won me. And I'm not saying I did shit to be won over, but, like, a lot of places we went, like I said, they offer you. We went to get some goddamn perfume, bro, and they offered tea. And when you took that minimum of 2 sugars, they treated you a whole different way. But, yeah, shit, it's good food in all those places. But at the top, I'm going to put Venice. No, I'm putting Venice based on the local cuisine. Like, the best food I had there was before we even left the country. The best food I had was in Queens, but in the whole trip. But Venice, then I'm going to put Santorini, Greece, and then Athens only because I had Indian food. But that Indian food was probably the best food next to the Jamaican food we had before we left.
Yeah, Queens, it was a hood spot, wasn't it? A little mama.
It was in Southside. It was in Southside Jamaica, Queens. A little, like, unassuming ass Jamaican spot. Like, it looked, man.
Shit.
Man. When I tell you, just like I'm telling you about Indian food, I'm the same way about Jamaican food. That was the best shit, bro. Like, I'm not eating Jamaican food again unless I'm there, or if I'm back in the Bay, there's this one spot. It's better than that, to me. It's better than that. But, like, those are 2 places, man. Like, other people got to come with it, man. Like, that shit ruined Jamaican food for me. Like, oxtail with rice and peas. And it's enough to feed a goddamn family, bro.
So you say your lady had dishes, too. So for those people who are listening who want to travel and they want to know about the nightlife, did you get a chance to see the nightlife? I know you was with the lady. And or what is the nightlife like from what you can tell in all these places that you went?
Okay. Yeah. So, Norway, if you're not in, alright, so I went to Oslo. So if you're not in, like, Oslo proper, like, there's no nightlife is non-existent. Like, the towns around, or areas around the suburbs, whatever you want to call the shit, is like, that shit, the sun set pretty early, I think. And even then, like, shit was, like, closing. But there, it's the standard shit, like bars and clubs and shit. Venice, the same thing, it's the standard stuff, but they had an added thing called Osteria. It's basically where they serve wine. Well, it's a bar, basically. But primarily centered around serving wine and small dishes. It's like their version of tapas. But they had clubs and other types of bars too. Like, and they were open until like maybe 3 or 4 o'clock. Like, one night we went, because we jet lagged, went to sleep early. Oh, we didn't go to sleep early. We went to sleep relatively early, woke up like in the middle of the night / early morning. Just went out for a walk at the street to ourselves and people were coming back. And so, yeah, they definitely got that. But we didn't do anything in Venice. But Santorini, they have a bar there in Ia, the village we were staying at, and it was like the focal point of the nightlife. Was that bar there in Ia? I mean, in Ia is the focal point, but around Santorini, there's all kinds of shit to do. There's a standard clubs and bars and young people. It's something for everybody if you want to go out. So the bar I was at, they were playing hip hop. You know, they literally played hip hop parade. I haven't heard that song in decades, man. They play hip hop parade.
Runs the world. When we was in fucking Thailand and every other place, they play hip hop parade. I guess it's the song internationally. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, now listen though, like, and it is not a sense of, oh, they doing this because there's black people here. There weren't any black people in there before I went in there that night. They were already playing hip hop, you know. Like, just like my man said, that shit runs the world. It's not something that people put on the front for. There's music people feel. So yeah, they got something for everybody. As far as Santorini, we went out the second night we were there, and that bar that I'm talking about, don't remember. I know in the daytime they serve gelato and fucking and all kinds of shit. But yeah, it's bar at night. As far as prices, that was kind of expensive. But you're on vacation, man. You know you're gonna be coming out of pocket. A lot of beautiful women there, beautiful women abound. You know what I'm saying? Man, if you single and you go there, if you're not bringing sand to the beach, you don't have a goddamn field day.
What's up with them Greeks?
Like, you gonna find, like, yeah, between them and even between, like, the tourists and all the other shit, you gonna find something you like. But the Greek women, like, shit, they're obviously it's Mediterranean, so they got the little olive skin. But unbeknownst to me, like, a lot of Greek, I ain't gonna say a lot, there are quite a few Greek women with some nice asses. That shit took me by shock. At first I thought it was like, oh, man, this one lady got up there. And I was like, God damn, this shit is in your blood. You know what I'm saying? And this shit is one thing that I will say before I move on to your next question. Everybody's hygiene ain't like our hygiene. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems that we are one of the cultures in America, I mean, regardless if you're an American, regardless of what your hyphenated Americanism is, Black American or whatever else have you, like, we take hygiene a little bit further than a lot of other people, because you don't smell some musty ass people, some people who don't, you know what I'm saying, believe in that toothbrush and toothpaste and mouthwash combination, you know what I'm saying, cleaning up the tongue. But yeah, it was some beautiful, beautiful, sexy women on the island of Santorini.
So all in all, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give your trip?
A 10. The trip, like, even the bitter part or bittersweet part, like, that's the type of shit you expect to come with this life, man. Like, it ain't go always be roses, you know what I'm saying? Like, Egypt, the last place we visited was Egypt, and I didn't expect that shit to be paradise, but, like, some of that shit is like, damn, like, I'm a grateful person anyway, and I don't like to compare myself to people, really, because that could lead to a motherfucker being depressed no matter who you are. But shit, man, anywhere you go as a black American person, you can be discriminated against. I think that, not saying that anybody else can be discriminated, but that's one of the unique things about being a black American person. Or shit, therefore a black person, really. Well, no, because
that ain't like, the way they put it on the news. So that's not the way they show it. Exactly. They make you think they make you think Egypt ain't part of Africa.
Exactly. And no, and I'm glad you brought that up. Some people there, you know what I'm saying, to them, they act like that. But the people, when they display people, and I mean display, because I'm talking about, like, ancient history up until now. I'm not trying to sound like an insensitive person. Like, they don't show the fucking wide range of colors. And I'll admit my bias on this, my damn self, that I think of Egypt, especially when I'm thinking in the ancient times, just black people. I'm the opposite. Oh, it's just black people. But no, shit. Like, you see, like, there were all kinds of people, like, all ranges of colors. I don't want to say all kinds, but there are different types of people there. Like, it isn't as predominantly black as I thought. Like, I have to give people that. But at the same time, just like you're saying, on the flip side, even if it's that, they will take that part and run with it and leave out the blackness when it's obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, this shit, that shouldn't have to be explained, but in the world we live in, you do have to explain. Like, black people, we don't want tokens for everything. We don't want tokenism. But when you try to write us out of history, that's a whole different thing. Like, one of the most, for lack of a better term, gratifying moments of the whole trip for me is when we were in Egypt. Dude was like, man, I was taking a picture, and he's like, you look like, he's like, I'm going to show you when we go to the museum. As a statue, the man looks just like you. And because he not mocked, like he did like the same stance I was doing, so I thought he meant that. And when I tell you it's a statue of this pharaoh that's undeniably, like, you know how I know who I'm talking to, but for anybody out there who might have any kind of knowledge on Egypt or anciently called Kemet, like you think, okay, you might think, oh, only black people or brown people, or for the misguided people who go off of fucking television, white people. But no, dude, this statue was, to make it drive the point even further home, was carved out of black granite, and this dude is undeniably African in his features, because like a lot of like that area, northern Africa, after Middle Eastern people immigrated, and the century since there's been a lot of mixing, and there's a lot of ambiguous looking people. But no, this is I hate this term. I hope y'all hear the air quotes whooshing by, a sub-Saharan African looking brother. And so I was like, damn, I thought, in my head, I'm thinking, like I said, the dude just meant it's going to look like, you know what I'm saying, somebody spending like no, that looked like that could have been my grandfather, man. And I was like, oh, this is on display right here in this museum. It's not like Egypt has something where they're hiding people from, like hiding this idea of Africans and Nubians, you know, and all this other stuff from people. It's wherever you at, or the people you surrounding yourself with that's doing this, because they not ashamed of that shit. They not hiding it. I can say that from having been there. Like I said, I had people putting their arms up next to me with cousins. I had brothers. I had all that
name.
Shit.
You remember the name of the statue? The brother on the statue?
I still do not. I took a picture of it, but I didn't get the placard on the statue. But okay, if you go to the museum in Cairo, it's gonna be a statue of a man sitting on a throne, like, and it's carved out of black granite. And he was one of the people to. This is a big deal, you know what I'm saying? Like, this has happened before, but I don't know if it was Namer or Namer. I forgot how to pronounce it. He's one of the people who have reunited Upper and Lower Egypt. And Upper Egypt, for people who don't know, is it's like kind of backwards. It sounds backwards. They term it Upper and Lower because of the flow of the Nile. So Upper Egypt is the southern part of Egypt, and Lower Egypt is the northern part of Egypt. And he reunited them. And so Upper Egypt was the primarily black part. It's the Nubian part. It's the part where the Cushites were, and like a lot of other, and there was other people there too. I'm not trying to like make it sound like there's not been anybody else, but it's that part. And yeah, a black man. And my point in bringing it up, not just for the historical part, is the crowns they wear. If you were the pharaoh of Upper Egypt, you had a certain type of crown, and it was represented by, I'm probably about to get this backward. It was represented by the papyrus, and southern, Lower Egypt was the lotus flower, and upper was the papyrus, I believe. But anyway, they would have like, okay, Horus represented Lower Egypt, Horus the falcon, and Upper Egypt was the cobra. I forget the name of the god. And if I got this all mixed up, my apologies, but do the research yourself anyway. But yeah, so he has that on his head, the things representing the unification of Egypt. It's a huge, unmistakable statue, man. I cannot remember the name of the person, but when you see it, you're gonna know. If you ever go and see it, which I advise anybody, regardless of who you are, to go to Egypt. Like, it's a huge influence on the civilization of human beings, period. Like, you missing out if you don't go. Like, just like I plan on going somewhere in China for that very same reason, and I went to Greece for that same reason, but I saved Egypt for last because it was my personal thing that I wanted out of it. Like, I'm not one of the people who mistakenly thinks, like, I'm going to be real with you. Like, some people, I think they take it too far. Like, I'm glad Steph mentioned this earlier. like, or maybe it was you, I'm sorry if I misattributed this, but because of the way Black Americans have been treated, like we try to latch on to anything because they say we had no history, and it's a constant moving of goalposts and hiding of hands. Like, oh, you had no history. So when we try to explain some history, it's that they take it and they whitewash it. Well, that person was this and that person was that, and so a lot of people are strictly myopic and focusing on Egypt as the source of blackness. When not only, like I said, was it multicultural, but if you are here and your ancestry could be tied to slaves, it's more than likely that your ancestors came from West Africa. And I think that's shameful that that part of the world doesn't get as much love. Like, people think when Black people try to relate back to Africa, they go so fast to the east, to the north and to the east. If it ain't Egypt, it's going to be excuse me, if it ain't Egypt, it's going to be Ethiopia. Like, there's a whole religion, the Rastafarian religion, with the whole Ethiops, based on my interpretation, and anybody out there, if I'm wrong, again, I'm wrong, but shit, don't jump down my throat. Based on the description of people in ancient times of anybody dark as Ethiopians, and that's not the case. Like, shit, I look like I'm Nigerian. Shit. I look like a Nigerian or Ghanaian or anybody from West Africa, you know what I'm saying? And I don't deny that shit. A lot of people, they do that shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't deny that shit, and I love it. But I think Black people, especially the people who are so-called woke, the hoteps, because the whole culture is based on Egypt. Like, people get myopic and only think because Egypt is such a great civilization and great example of greatness in humanity, because we're always out to prove a point, because they say we have nothing, you know what I'm saying? We've had nothing, so why not attach yourself to greatness? Like, bro, you're missing out on the Ashanti culture, and you're missing out on, the Mali Empire and all these other places, all this other stuff, the Yoruba religion, Yoruba whom this religion is the basis of a lot of stuff that ain't even, like, strictly African anymore. Santeria, which is practiced by some people in Latin America, like, frankly, some people who hate Black people, they have no idea they're taking part in Black religion, you know what I'm saying? Like, so don't limit your focus to Egypt. Egypt was somewhere I wanted to go for the civilization aspect, but I don't feel like, I don't, speaking of the whole Africa thing, feel like I've truly been to Africa because it's so Arabic as a place. Like, it's so, like, culturally, right now, it is a Islamic state. And the people is a wide range of people who look, how people look, but it still feels like I'm in the Middle East. And they do include that region in the Middle East. But until I'm on the shores or I'm in West Africa, it'll be until then that I feel like my soul has his home.
I feel the same way. That's where I want to go. I want to go to Ghana or somewhere. I don't want to. I want to go to Egypt. Everybody wants to go to Egypt for the reasons you explained. You know what I mean? But sound like you had a nice trip, man. I think it's important to see what other people is going through and just sit. I can speak for myself. When I check out the scenery, man. Like when I was in Thailand or Malaysia or wherever I've been across the world, man, it just opens my mind and gets me to look at the positive things in life, you know what I mean, as opposed to the negative. That's number one on my list, man. Just traveling, seeing the world, seeing different cultures. I'm talking about traveling abroad.
Yeah, you know me, that's one of. I can't want shit for people, or I can't make them do shit. But shit, if I don't want anything else, like, and this isn't, don't take this, if you listen to this and you family or you somebody important to me, not saying these brothers ain't important to me, because they, some of the most important people to me. Like, that means you set your game up and you feel slighted by this. But anyway, like, I want y'all to get y'all passports, man, so we can do this shit. Like, that's what's important to me. It's like traveling the world with people I got love for, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was, and then this not saying that I didn't have a good time or that I felt like I didn't get anything accomplished by just traveling with me and my lady. It felt incomplete without having the guys there, you know what I'm saying? Let's get to this other shit.
Well, the next topic we have is reaping the rewards of having a positive outlook, positive reinforcement, and pretty much, like I said again, reaping the benefits of having that. Not looking at anything so pessimistic, but yet optimistic. Joe, have you, Dullah.
Yeah, I was about to say, nigga, I don't feel like
yeah. Dullah, have you ever experienced that?
Most definitely have. I take that with me every day in my life, you know what I'm saying? And I think, as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gang. No. As far back as I can remember, when I started getting more into just trying to be more positive, and having mind control and thinking things into existence, which really started when I started boxing on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? My coaches always told me to visualize winning. When I dream at night, I should dream about how it's going to feel when I win. I should picture everything. I should picture who's in the crowd, who's there. You know what I'm saying? I should picture what I have on, what I ate for breakfast, everything. You know what I'm saying? And Coach Willie Beeman, rest in peace, he's the one who always told me to visualize this. You know what I mean? And so fast forward to when I met my coach, who really took me to another level. This is just one example, but I carry this with me in my everyday life, period. I have many examples, but when I met Coach Ali, you know what I mean, he always told me to think positive, and he knew that I was coming off a loss, and it kind of messed with my mental, you know what I mean? And I really wasn't ready to get back in the ring because I was questioning myself and doubting myself. So he worked on my technique, but more importantly, he worked on my psyche. He always told me to think positive. And, of course, he always big me up. I don't want to say gas because it's true. Like, these motherfuckers ain't as good as you. They can't punch like you. You got the equalizer. I don't care what his record is. Once you hit him with that right hand, his ass going, you know what I'm saying, hit the ground. You know, shit like that. You know how in boxing you got to hype your fighter up. You got to keep his confidence high. So he wanted me to carry that with me, not just in the ring, but in my everyday life. You know what I'm saying? I always think that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not normal. He always said, you're not like everybody else. And he always say, yeah, normal people can do that, but you can't do that because you're different. So I can remember going to Louisville for a fight, and all week they was talking about this dude. They was calling him like Lil Mike Tyson. They called him the knockout artist or some shit. And he was, he only had like 15 fights, but he is like 15-0, and he stopped like 13 people. and I only had like around the same amount of fights at that time. And I had one loss. I had 2 losses. And so I remember going in, and all week he just told me to visualize winning, how it's gonna feel when I win. You know what I'm saying? And you know how he's gonna react once I hit him with that right hand and everything like that. So by the time I got to the scale, man, on that Saturday, shit, the fight was already won. I had visualized this shit all week. You know what I mean? I had visualized me winning. I had visualized me stopping him. I had visualized him being mad. You know what I'm saying? I had visualized people in Kentucky being shocked because he's from there. And I went down there to fight this undefeated dude who's knocking everybody out, who looked like with gold front. And I went down there, and once I stepped in on the scale, I never felt so confident in my life. You know what I mean? Like, there was no way I was going to lose that fight. I wasn't even thinking about the strategy of the fight. I wasn't even thinking about what I'm going to do to him. I was just relaxed. I was just free. It was just like, okay, what time I fight? All right, so, you know what I mean? Like, what number am I? And once that bell rung, it was like it wasn't even me there. You know what I'm saying? I had already visualized this shit all week. And I dominated that motherfucker from start to finish. I dropped him. You know what I'm saying? After the fight, he was mad, just like I visualized it. I literally visualized him being mad, and he was going to the corner and going to the judges and trying to get the scorecards because he couldn't believe that he lost, even though he had been dropped and he had been dominated. He couldn't believe he lost, and that's exactly. It wasn't verbatim, but that's how I pictured it. I pictured him being mad because he lost and questioning it, and that's exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? So from there, it just took off as far as my confidence took off, and I tried that method every time. You know what I'm saying? Like, visualize winning. Visualize winning, visualizing what's going to happen, taking it into existence, and just having a positive outlook on everything. And a lot of times, when you're in a fight game, people have different attributes, like this guy, he can punch, this guy, he's fast, this guy, he's elusive, this guy can do this, that, and the other. So instead of that, I always focus on what I have. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, after I had so much success in that and boxing, I tried to do the same thing in my everyday life. You know what I'm saying? And I look back 15 years ago, I was sleeping on, let me see, maybe not 15 years, yeah, about 15, 16 years ago, I was sleeping in my brother's house trying to find out where I was going to go in life because life had kicked me in the ass so much. You know what I'm saying? And I really didn't have much to myself other than fresh gear and some money in my pocket and shit like that. But that ain't nothing. I didn't own anything. You know what I'm saying? And I would lay in my room, in the back room, and I would visualize having a house, having a wife, having a family, having a car, having everything that I need. You know what I'm saying, in life, and to make me feel complete. And if you look at me now, and it's something you don't really recognize, that you thought this into existence, this positive outlook on life, that you chose to focus on instead of the negative shit, instead of saying, I need, I want, I don't have this, I don't have that. I said, I'm going to get this, I'm going to visualize this, I'm going to be positive about it. And they said, you know, I joined the Navy to get a restart on life. And if you look at me now, I have a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful children, a beautiful home, beautiful cars, and none of that means, it means everything to me because I chose to stay positive. You know what I'm saying? I chose to look ahead and say, well, I don't have this now, but instead of saying I don't have it and crying and going to hit a lick, which is possible in my past, you know what I'm saying, and do some dumb shit to get me locked up, I said, I'm going to do it the right way, and I'm going to get everything. You know what I'm saying? I got to stop doing some of the silly shit that I do. I got to cut these suckers out of my circle. You know what I'm saying? Let me focus on the positive. Man, life's going to kick me in my ass so much, and I know we all share this story. Not just people on this podcast, I mean across the world. But I don't dwell on that shit. You know what I'm saying? I done lost friends. I done had motherfuckers turn on me. Anything you can think of, we all have similar stories, but I don't focus on that. I'm focused on, okay, what I'm going to do now? That's why I can get up and walk away from a quote-unquote good job like, fuck that job. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to make it. And people going to doubt me, and I don't even use that as fuel to the fire. I don't even give a fuck what they think. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I visualize everything. I've been doing this shit for almost 20 years, and this game, I don't live in a full abundant lifestyle that I want to yet, but every year I get closer to that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful for everything that I have. And I got all this by having a positive outlook and to visualize these things like law of attraction. You know what I'm saying?
Let me share a story about Dullah and I. It was, and this is pretty much just to, well, I ain't gonna say solidify because you've been listening since day one. You should already know that man is steadfast in, you know what I'm saying, in everything that he speaks. But to give you an example of his positive outlook and all of that, at a particular time when I got out of service, I was struggling or whatever, and was about to do something real foolish. Pretty much that what made me think about it, right? We've all had situations like this. And I called my man Dullah. I'm sitting in my car, smoking a black, in a park by myself, like literally about to make a foolish decision. And I called him, and he's like, so you going through it right now, but shit ain't gonna last, so on and so forth. Pretty much everything that he just spoke on now, visualizing it, so on and so forth. And as soon as shit start going back my way, I called him again. Well, no congratulations, no shit like that, so on and so forth. It was, oh, I told you it was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And once, you know what I'm saying, because just like anybody, we all human, lose sight of that, of, you know, having that, you as he said, focus so much on what you don't have and the negative aspects of whatever it is that you're going through. You lose sight of the simple fact of what I said at the beginning of the podcast. You woke up that morning and you got a chance to do any and everything that you didn't do the previous 24 hours. So with that, as far as reaping the benefits of having a positive outlook on this, you know what I'm saying? That's a sheer example of that from everything that Brother Dullah just said. Like I've experienced by having multiple conversations with him and Joe as well. And it's just, you know what I'm saying, it's having that dynamic of this ain't gonna last long. You know what I'm saying? And not even the fact that it's not gonna last long. Yeah, you're in a situation right now, but in the same sense, change the paradigm of your focus. You know, change it to where it is, okay, I already got it. It's happening for me. The universe is moving in my direction. It's just not happening at a particular speed that I need it to. Don't even focus in on that, because whatever it is that you got, you know, I say this. I think Scarface said it best. Either you coming into a storm, coming out of a storm, or you in that motherfucker. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously. But that's pretty much the way life is. That's the way it's going. So it's up to you to focus in on what you need to focus in on. Like, I'm not trying to preach to you in no shape, form, or fashion, but at the end of the day, positive reinforcement, positive thinking, positive energy. You get what you give. And if you put in the positive energy out there, I'm a firm believer in that, especially at 34 years old. All the fucked up shit I done did, and that shit came back to me tenfold. You do more positive, you do more good. I'm a firm believer in good will restore. So, Brother Joe, what you got to say?
Fuck all y'all positive niggas. But nah. Alright. I'm going to start this off by relating experiences just the same way my brothers did, but I'm going to taper it by, you know, offering a counterpoint to this. You know what I'm saying? So, y'all not just in the echo chamber. Just like them, one of the tenets of my positive, you know, my positivity is not an outlook, it's just me being positive anyway, is visualizing success. I was taught the same way, under the same similar circumstances, being active in, you know, athletics. The same thing. You're gonna have people trying to guide you that way. So I'm not gonna expound on that one too much. And also, like Steph was saying, excuse me, oh wait for that shit to come out. Shit. Knowing that everything is not permanent. Like knowing the impermanence of things. Like I've said time and time again on here, meditation is a big part of my life. And the type that I practice most often is mindfulness meditations. And a big factor of that is being present. And if you're being present, you're not ruminating on the past. You're not having anxiety about the future because either it's came or it's not here yet. And so that allows me to not just do things but enjoy what I'm doing. Like I said, when I was on that trip, it was, damn, this is amazing. I wasn't thinking, I wonder what they're doing back home, or I wonder what they're doing here. Like, when I was, you know, hollering at my boys, when I'm talking to them, you know what I'm saying, I'm talking to them, or whatever the fuck. It wasn't like, damn, well, somebody's doing this. Man, I don't give a fuck what they had going on, shit. I'm having an amazing fucking time right now. And I enjoyed that. But that's everyday life. It's, all right, I'm about to go ahead and sit in this traffic. I'm sitting in this traffic. It's not fucking getting road rage and shit because it's fucking traffic. You know that shit is going to be there. Ain't shit you can do about it. It's traffic. It ain't being at work and, man, I wish I was home. I wish that, man, 5 o'clock can't come soon enough. Shit, 5 o'clock is going to come. Shit. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no point in sitting here wishing and wanting about some shit, for one, that's not going to happen any sooner by you just saying, I wish it were. But two, just due to time, is going to actually happen. Motherfucking time stop, I cease to exist, so it ain't no point in sitting there, you know what I'm saying, focusing on that positively or negatively. But also, doing simple shit. If I'm eating a meal, like, damn, this tastes amazing. Where'd they get this, you know, get this tomato from? Like, did this goddamn cow, did that motherfucker eat happy grass or something? You know, I'm being facetious about it, but still being appreciative of everything that I'm doing. And a big part of my positivity, moving past the mindfulness, being in the present moment, is expressing gratitude. My life is fucking great. Like, I can't even, I'm not trying to, this ain't a brag, humble, or otherwise. I have a fucking great life. Like, and I don't compare myself to people, but compared to a lot of motherfuckers, especially, I have a great life. But comparing my life to my past life, I have a great life. Like, I don't have shit to complain about. Like, people don't have opportunities I do. Like, fucking, the worst thing that's going on in my life is I live in the suburbs. And I live in the suburbs because it's the opposite of when I was a kid. Like, you gotta have money to live in a city, and I have enough money to live in a city but not live comfortably. You know what I'm saying? So, I live in the suburbs comfortably. Fucking, I'm not worried about a fucking car payment. I'm not worried about putting gas in my vehicle. I'm not worried about finding a meal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got all this shit. Like, the only thing I get up with, I wake up every day, listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I'm saying? I listen to On Your Face, and then I listen to Today Was a Good Day by Q every day. Shit. Speaking of which, those two songs are fucking Earth, Wind, and Fire in general was like the soundtrack to my trip, man. Like, I start my day off the same way. Listening to positive music, you know what I'm saying, smiling, having a good time, doing shit at my own pace. And that's it, man. Like, fucking shit's gonna happen. Shit's gonna come up throughout the day. But I'm prepared to deal with it because of who I am and because, taking it back to, like I said, Steph said, like, this shit is temporary. Like, none of that shit is gonna be, even the good, this shit ain't gonna be here forever. Like, I gotta maintain this. If not, like, aggressively seek other things. Like, there is no such thing in this capital society, especially, as like a homeostasis, like an economic homeostasis. Like, if I stop fucking working, or if I stop doing this, I'm not going to have the money to do the things that I like. Like, money saved and invested aside. Like, that shit's I'll run out of that money, and I'm fucking left with nothing. So, no, I got to go out there and do some shit to, you know, make that shit happen. But I do enjoy every moment I'm in when I'm in. Even if it's not a perfect moment, I'm not saying I enjoy this shit, but like I said, I know it's not a permanent moment. So I express gratitude for everything I did. Like, I'm eternally grateful. Like, I couldn't be anything but. Like, I have an understanding, my understanding of life and death is to this point that, yeah, it saddens me when I lose people. But especially if they were going through something, like, for instance, my grandfather had cancer. It was like, it put me in a sense of peace knowing that he wasn't suffering anymore. You know what I'm saying? it ain't no point in me being sad about something that I was like, man, he lived a full life and he was suffering. Like, the best thing for him was to pass on out of this life. So I'm grateful for everything I have. I'm grateful for everything I've been through. Shit, I'm on my shit zero. Shit, everything I've been through, I appreciate the shit. Cause if I wouldn't have took an easy way, man, come on, man. I ain't playing with this shit, man. This is who I am. This is what I love, and I love being me. And like taking it past that is another way I exude this positivity. I'm able to live with this positivity. I'm able to do all this shit. Because as you can hear, I surround myself with people who think and do the same type of shit. Like, I couldn't be this. I couldn't be who I am comfortably. Because I'm going to be who I am regardless. I couldn't be who I am comfortably if I was around motherfuckers, or I surrounded myself with motherfuckers who was always focusing on, the negative. Like, to contrast that, it would be, oh, you think you're better than me. That's what a motherfucker like that would say. Oh, you think you're better than me, or this or that. Like, but with them, they already know what's up anyway, but it's going to be like, shit, we need to do this. Or we need, you know what I'm saying? They not like, well, damn, he's out here doing this and that, or whatever the fuck. Man, fuck that nigga. If they are, I'll holler at these niggas. But nah, seriously, they know what's up, so they on the same shit, man. Like, I don't keep no, for lack of a better term, losers around me, man. Like, if you can't, life is about moving at your own pace, but if you can't keep up, as contradictory as this sounds, you can't keep up with my pace, I ain't got no use for you. And I'm not saying I'm here to use people, but like I don't need dead weight. That's the last thing I need is dead weight. Because I'm a free spirit ass motherfucker, and I've been that way. Like, I'm gonna do some shit that gives me pleasure.
Inject real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I got to throw this in there. It sounds like, well, not even sounds like, because I know that for me, in the last few years, we've all have evolved since the first time we've all met, which is supposed to be a natural progression. And people supposed to be, happy and so on and so forth for you. But, dude, it all boils back down to a line Pimp C said, when you change for the better, Shaq will stop coming around. So, that's all I got. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. No, shit. And that wraps that part of it up. But, yeah. Shit, man, I keep people in my stuff. And this is where the transition is about to come in. For anybody who out there listening and thinking it's bullshit, that's one thing. Like, if you are afflicted with a mental disorder that keeps you in a like, shit, hate to sound so negative, no pun intended, but in the gutter. Like, if you have major depressive disorder and it's hard for you to visualize and envision shit like this happening, then we're not talking to you. Like, that's a whole different story, and that's something like when people deal with stuff like that. Any type of mental disorder, it's not as simple as motherfuckers who love to come up to people and, oh man, you gotta do this and just shake off. No, it ain't that easy. Like, you can't tell a motherfucker to do something and just go snap to it and it's bam, it's happening. Like, there's barriers everybody has to deal with, and that's one of the barriers you may be dealing with. But this ain't a sense of everything in my life is gravy. It ain't a sense of there's no strife. It's I deal with that in a better way. I understand it in a better way. So, taking it back to what we've been saying, it's I know I'm gonna get out of this storm, or I see the storm coming, so I'm prepared for it. So when I'm in that storm, I'm battening down the hatches and shit. I'm at the stern, you know what I'm saying, working that wood wheel. But yeah, don't think that damn, all I gotta do is get up and think. Like, hell no, you gotta put some action behind that shit, man.
Yeah.
Because you know how many motherfuckers out there thinking just as positive as you, but they putting their goddamn foot to pavement, man. You know how many motherfuckers thinking negatively, and they reaping benefits of some shit just because they outworking you. Like, a lot of people are looking for shortcuts. It's not a shortcut. A lot of people are looking for a change in their environment, in their life, and they want something temporary just so they can get to something, like quick bucks. This ain't that either. It's the same thing. Like, if you are right now, you feel like you overweight or you want to do something with your body, drinking a fitness tea or whatever the fuck they out there trying to sell you ain't gonna work, man. Like, you gotta change whatever you're doing. You gotta change your lifestyle. It's the same thing. This isn't just going out there and I spoke it into existence, therefore there it is. Like, no, it's an old adage. You gotta put the work in. And furthermore, when you are black or you are anywhere in a society that you are the marginalized individual, that's going to take some real resilience. It's going to take some real strength. So don't just think, like, if you listen to this and you black, I'm not saying to make it become more resilient. It makes you become more resilient. Like, it makes you become more resilient. Like, but it's not just that. It's, you know there's going to be some shit coming. So with that being said, Steph, go ahead and take us into the next one.
One thing through my travels and being back in the corporate world is race-related issues as far as how non-minority people look at certain things. Like, you have more than two different types, but it's two different types I feel like that are more out there, more blunt. You got the empathetic non-minority people, white folks, basically. And then you have the oblivious ones. And the difference between those two, and some of them actually have, well, not some of them, those two actually have similarities as well. And what I mean by empathetic white folks is pretty much the whole aspect of, you know, I get what you're saying, so on and so forth, but and I understand what's going on and how, you know, black folks, gays, Asians, so on and so forth are oppressed and the system, quote unquote, is not designed for them. But in the same sense, they have some backhanded racial shit to say as well. Then you have the oblivious ones that don't understand why, you know, kids are being detained and being shot by the very people that are supposed to protect and serve us, the ones that ultimately that we obtain. And I see this shit predominantly, there ain't no predominantly, I see it on a day-to-day basis because, I mean, for one, I work where I'm, you know, reporting on it. Not saying I'm a reporter, but I'm you know, in that field. And as far as with the oblivious ones, it's like, well, I just don't understand. I just don't get it. Why do they feel so threatened and scared by police? Like, they're here for us. Yeah, but when you constantly being prejudged and predetermined as a person that is trying to, you know,
a threat.
Yeah, a threat, basically. And I don't understand it fully myself because it's like, if you watch the news, it's some remnants of the truth in that news. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, he got shot because, he was black, or you know, he had a hoodie on, or he had a gang-banged attire.
What the fuck is that?
What's that?
I say, yeah, like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, and it's like, the empathetic ones look at it, it's like, yeah, I feel sorry for him, so on and so forth, but in the same sense, you should do different things. This is what I say, the backhanded racial shit.
Well, hold on. Now I'm misunderstanding.
Okay.
Then you ain't truly empathetic. That's just something else.
That's just
to be empathetic, like you understand, there is no but to that shit.
Right.
That's being willfully ignorant about something, or that's been like you going out of your way to take a stance on something, even if you understand it. Like, no, that's not being empathetic at all.
but on the same tip, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, they looking for a solution, and the only solution is for us to do something different. And
they looking to point the finger is what you're saying. They ain't looking for a solution. They looking to assign blame.
I mean, yeah, that's how we look at it. But that's
you gotta be, because you're victim blaming. Shit.
That's not necessarily how, you know what I'm saying, they perceive it, because
okay.
It's the police, and they're the good guys. You know what I'm saying? I hope it with it in this topic, because it wasn't designed to be so serious, but I feel like it's going that route. But
I'm being sarcastic a lot.
No, I know you are. I'm talking about.
Okay.
But I hope it's not, you know what I'm saying, going over folks' heads, because again, I'm back in the corporate world, so I see it regularly, daily, with coworkers, with people I have to have conversations with the high brass of, you know what I'm saying, local police departments in my area, and not just the city I live in, surrounding cities as well. So when I say I see it daily, I really do mean I see it daily. It's not our fault. It's their fault. If they would, like, okay, here's an example of it. To a certain extent, I can't even go so far as to say it's 100%. It's a thing we got here called bridging the gap, right? It's basically police officers have little events for the public, and it's basically, the name says, it's bridging the gap between cops and the community. And I think that's pretty much a step in the right direction, and it's not anyone being blamed, but it's starting a conversation under it's not meeting at a city hall. It's not under those official guides. So whereas we can, like one of the events that I had to go to and talk to actually the sheriff's department here, was basically it was like a Havana night where they had cigars, they had a mad band, it was gambling and so on and so forth. It looked like it was a pretty, cool night or whatever. Like people drinking, obviously. I mean, you got cigars, you got gambling. Clearly, there's gonna be liquor flowing as well. And it was the police officers and the community, like partying up under the same roof, no problems, no issues. It's pretty much like on some Bloods and Crips type shit. I mean, I can't put it no other way. But with that, I feel like that's a step in the right direction. But to get back to the overall point of it all, oblivious one, and air quotes, empathetic. When you come to the table and try to, build solutions, so on and so forth, what I've seen, again, is the simple fact that the empathetic ones and the oblivious ones have the same solution. It's our fault. It's the citizens' fault. Where it's like, I mean, hell, you go down the list, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, so on and so forth. Like, literally, what did they do for their lives to end? And if you can't think of nothing, clearly you are one of the empathetic ones and oblivious ones, because, at least to my knowledge, the man that killed Trayvon Martin is still walking around free. Eric Gardner, the cop is still on the police force, right?
Yeah. Let me say something about that before we get, because I am in line with you. I want to keep this as light as possible. When these people, whatever is happening, they lose their jobs, it's not like they ain't getting another job. They just get fired from that particular, department, or they get
right. But there's no
that particular police force. No, listen, there are consequences in that they get fired from that job, and people, it appeases some people. I get what you're saying. There are any consequences, but I'm trying to put something out there. So they lose that job. It's not like I got fired and I'm done I can never be a cop again. Same thing with some doctors. Like, oh shit, I can't practice medicine, or I can't practice law in this state. They can go to another state and do that shit. They can go to another department. Like, people take this shit as moral victories. If these motherfuckers ain't going to jail for these crimes they're committing, then there's not anything being gained, because they're just going somewhere to get another job. You know what I'm saying? They ain't losing that pension. Wake the fuck up, man. All right, Steph.
So with that being said, it's pretty much, it's like I said, you fall, and I'm not from a huge fucking city. It's fairly middle size. So it's one of those cities where there's pretty much less than 6 degrees of separation. It's probably like 3 or 4. Somebody that knows you knows me, or 3 people. It's not that much of separation, especially if you are around the same age yet. Or I know this particular person through their family, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that big to where even if I don't know you, I can't find out who you are, especially with technology and social media and all of that shit in the day and age we live in. But for those people that have a tendency of coming to the same solution, like, there is pretty much y'all are one and the same in my estimation, because you have, you know what I'm saying, the same solution. It's always the citizen's fault. It's always the person that the crime was committed against, police officer or not. But yet there's no ramifications for it. There's no consequence. There's no end game to it. There's no opportunity or even an attempt to be made whole. Even though in a lot of these situations there's no possible way of being made whole again, because 9 out of 10, you know, somebody's life is lost, or, you know what I'm saying, a person is away from their family for X amount of years, or on bullshit, basically. So for those that try to describe that, or well, if they would have did X, Y, and Z, it never would have happened. I was like, okay, so I'm driving home from work and I get pulled over and I have a hoodie on and I go in my pocket, my hoodie pocket, and because that's where my wallet is, and I can't even pull out my wallet and I get shot. Again, what could I have done differently? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got people that are enforcing the law that, I mean, for lack of a better term, ain't got no goddamn business enforcing the law, because they have preconceived notions anyway. So, I mean, but that's another deep dive, and go into the system overall is flawed. And it's been flawed since the inception of the system. But I don't know if y'all got anything y'all would want to add, because I go off on a deep tirade real quick. So, Brother Dullah,
yeah, I got something. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, as far as talking about how certain white folks don't really understand or really see the disparity between interaction with black folks and with white folks, you know, the disparity between the two, you know, I think a lot of that is because they don't want to see it. Those people don't want to see it, first and foremost. But if they want to be that naive, if you want to say that they're that naive, it's like people got to understand the genesis of policing in America to begin with, as far as the southern states go, especially, though, you know what I'm saying, which was the start of, like, the slave patrol, you know what I'm saying? So if you want to believe that slave patrol turned into this police force that's all about equality and everybody's getting treated the same, we have the same set of rules for everybody, and there's no disparity between laws, between like crack cocaine as opposed to cocaine and a violation, you know what I'm saying? And how many years you can get in prison, and you don't want to see the disparities between African Americans in the police system, even though we make up like 13% of the population and 70 or 80% of, you know what I'm saying, those incarcerated, as far as blacks and Latinos. So if you can believe that, then I can see why these same white folks that you talked about earlier, Steph, are the ones who just don't see it. They don't want to see it. In their world, it's not a reality. So how mad at them can you be? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the type of people who believe everything that they see on the news as it's reported to them. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, and that's who it's for. As it's reported to them. You know, and we're the type of people who, coming where we come from, and some of the experiences that we have to deal with as far as racism in America, we automatically get this sense of we have to read between the lines. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we're brought up. So part of me,
allow me to interject.
They don't want to believe it. I'm gonna say this, and the other part of me is saying, okay, well maybe they do believe it because it's for them. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Not taking the light off white people, because there definitely is a majority of people who fit this description, all white people. But especially on social media, I've seen a lot of people of color as well. A lot of people who not generalizing that they're people of color because I see their surnames, but a lot of people who are Latin and whatever who follow the same guidelines. A lot of the incendiary comments I see from this on social media are people who have Latin surnames. So don't try to feel like you're safe from, you know what I'm saying, that you're absolved from whatever we're talking about because you're not white. A lot of y'all motherfuckers are whitewashed, for lack of a better term, whitewashed. So don't feel like you safe. Your bitch ass is on front in the fire too. That's all I got for that. Me interrupting you.
That's all I wanted to touch on is I just don't. It just baffles me sometimes how people can't see that it's more systemic. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The whole police
renegade slaves out here.
The whole police system.
Don't want to have that conversation.
They don't want to have it
because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. That's what a lot of this shit. Not just race, not just sex. A lot of this shit is about the people who are being addressed, whether or not they are empathetic, oblivious, blatantly racist, sexist, misogynistic, whatever. It's about their comfort. Like, it is uncomfortable to have this conversation. It's uncomfortable to have this conversation. Like, the whole concept of white fragility explains this in a nutshell. Like, they feel like they're being attacked even if it's not them directly being talked about. And I'm not saying white fragility is a thing that is, or white fragility is, that this is something that only white people deal with. But we're talking about, like, people of color versus white people right now. So, let's get into white fragility. But also, like, this shit is uncomfortable for your so-called allies. This whole thing with the biggest issue right now that people are being distracted with, that I know of, is the whole taking a knee thing. Goddamn Negroes should be happy that they even have a chance to play on the white man's grass, under the white man's sun, because, yes, they own the sun, the white man's sun, getting paid to play a child's game. But they out here taking a knee, disrespecting our goddamn flag. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
That's a whole nother
thing. The reason why this is a whole issue for them is based in that, though. This isn't the appropriate time. I get what you're saying. For the sake of conversation, this isn't the appropriate time to do this. There's a time and a place. There's a time and a place to make you feel comfortable, is what you're saying. And it's like, to bring the lightheartedness back into this, for anybody who's seen Office Space, when they doing my boy Milton wrong, they had a conversation about, like, this guy's not on payroll. He hasn't been for years. And they don't directly address it. They just keep pushing him deeper and deeper into the basement. They're like, fucking Lumberg and took the man's stapler, nigga in the basement with files and rats and shit, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just being like, hey, you fired, you need to get the fuck out of here. Like, it's like, let's just keep on pushing them gradually, you know what I'm saying, away down into the basement. And it's what we're saying when we're saying that, and I'm speaking from, mockingly speaking from a white person's perspective who would think like this, is I'm uncomfortable about this conversation So have this when I'm not around. You come to a solution yourself, and we'll tell you if it's a good idea or not. You know what I'm saying? Because it's moving the goalposts is what it is, and there was no pun intended seeing how the subject matter is people taking a knee on the football field. It's the moving the goalposts. Like, these guys out here fucking rioting. You need to peacefully protest. Okay, you're going to peacefully protest by taking a knee. Oh my God, you took a knee during the national anthem. You're disrespecting our flag.
Nigga,
it's not about the flag. Yeah, it's not about the flag. You're disrespecting our flag. It's not about the, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no conversation to be had with these people like y'all are saying. Like, they see what they want to see. Is like, I tell people this shit all the time. I've heard this out of my fucking own ears and have had to reprimand people. I've never seen racism. Well, first and foremost, you're not going to be the person who's generally on the receiving end of that racism. Secondly, you sound like you see only what's outside your window. Mm-hmm. Like, if you venture a little bit further, you'll see this racism. If you had any critical thinking skills, you'll see this racism. Like, living in the greater Austin metropolitan area, this shit is traditionally, like, segregated along the Interstate 35, interregional Highway 35, I-35. The east side of that highway in Austin was the people of color side. The west side is down, especially downtown, is fucking the state capitol, all the buildings, UT, all that shit is on the west side. That's all you gotta do. You drive down that motherfucker and you paying attention, or if you were in a car and paying attention, you look around, you see that shit. If you got the history of that shit, that's a whole different story. But if you look and you see that shit, it ain't no questions no more, man. Like, stop with that shit, bro. Like, if y'all supposed to be so smart, you understand this shit. You just want somebody to kowtow to you. You want a person of color to explain to you why something is the way it is, and that's the power of dynamic of power too. Like having somebody spoon feed you some information that you can see with your own fucking eyes, that you can Google in this day and age. You can fucking get online and Google that shit, just like you Google all this other bullshit you do. It's like when you fucking coughing and there's some fucking green shit coming out in your goddamn mucus, you think you got fucking cancer. Google why the fuck people, baby. Yeah, Google why the fuck you think people are fucking getting gunned down at this alarming rate that are seemingly, like, that's coming from one side. The people of color are the advocate side. They're not in the wrong. And it's coming from the other side. These people are just prone to being basically animals. So look for that fucking happy medium that's called using your critical thinking skills and get to the bottom of that shit yourself, bro. Ain't nobody about to tell you.
Check that. People, it all goes back to it. People don't want to believe, like we all said, or, you know what I'm saying, like they choose to overlook things. Like, listen to sports radio here in Indiana, Dan Dockage. This motherfucker always said, well, if you look at the numbers, you'll see that whites get killed by police more than blacks. Right, which is true, right? But if you look at the disparity between how many whites in America as opposed to how many blacks are in America, and then look at the rate that they get killed by police, incarcerated, police brutality. I mean, it's just alarming. But this is a college-educated man who can't put two and two together. I'm not that naive.
Oh, no,
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know that he can. He chooses to overlook it, and he wants to change the mind of the people. And basically saying that all of us who's complaining about this shit are really just overreacting. You know what I'm saying? This is a white man who's from the Gary area, though. So we want to be 100. So he grew up around us. So I don't know how his interactions with us as a child were, but I'm just saying, like, they just want to see it their way. They want the world to be perfect. They don't want to listen.
Well, perfect is free of Negroes, by the way.
Exactly. They don't really want to listen to us. They don't want to hear our problems. They think we're complaining and crying about everything. You know what I mean? So it's just ridiculous, man. I really don't even like to talk about it because it ain't like it's gonna change. Right. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being real. I mean, everybody needs a group of people to pick on. If you go back to our previous podcast when we were talking about the black dollar. And what do we see it changing? Like every group of people, like you need one group of people to pick on. You know,
scapegoat. You need a scapegoat.
Yeah, we're gonna make our money from them. They're gonna make, and it's all about money. We buy it from them. When they lock us up, they getting shit done. You know what I'm saying? They making money off of us. You know what I'm saying? All of this shit is about money, man. So where's the half?
I'm sorry. I thought you were. Keep going. I'm sorry. I thought you were.
I'm saying, where the half now?
Before you address it, I got some. Damn, you still going? My bad. Damn.
I'm saying, however you want to look at it. That's all I was gonna say. However you want to look at it. They just want to keep picking on us, keep us down, make them rich, and it's just about money and power. That's what it's all about. And then we have to change that. And people gotta understand. You can't just do it by saying, "Oh, well, let's go here and let's change the laws. Let's vote for this person." Yeah, man. Every really change that happened came with a lot of fucking violence behind it. Now, I'm not saying let's go out here and kill all white folks. I'm saying like you got to be willing to die for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to know anytime any change happens, there's a lot of death behind it. And when motherfuckers stop marching and being ready to die for what they believe in, then I can see some change coming. But we don't get it by marching and going on Facebook and typing, making an angry post and sharing a video and all this dumb shit that we be doing. Hey, man, you got to be ready to die for this shit. You got to become soldiers. And we ain't there. So go ahead.
So, yeah, Steph, before you get back to it, what I was saying was, no, they understand in the sense that they use those same statistics to further their point, to get that confirmation bias. They're going to say, yes, that is a test move for them. Yes, there are more white people, but this is disproportionately happening among the black people. So there is something wrong with them. That's their retort to that. Is the disproportionate amount that is happening is like, well, you're right. There are generally more white people. So why is this happening at such a high rate among them? And it still goes back to the essence of what you're saying, but they use that as a counter argument. There you go, Steph.
To put a bow on this, and like I said, dealing with both sides of those people, the oblivious ones and the empathetic ones, air quotes again. I picked up a book I started reading, and I'll read the description. I'll give you the title, author, and a brief description on it. The name of the book is called Black for a Day, White Fantasies of Race and Empathy by Alicia Gaines. And basically, the description, I give a brief description of it. In 1948, journalist Ray Sperry traded his whiteness to live as a black man for 4 weeks. A little over a decade later, John Howard Griffin famously became black as well, traveling the American South in search of a certain kind of racial understanding. Contemporary history is littered with the surprisingly complex stories of white people passing as black. And here, Alicia Gaines constructs a unique, genealogically, I can't pronounce that fucking word.
Genealogically.
There we go. Empathetic racial impersonation, while liberals walking in the fantasy of black skin under the alibi of cross-racial empathy. At the end of their experiments in blackness, Gaines argues these debatably well-meaning white impersonators arrive at little more than false consciousness. And that entail kind of sums up what my feelings are on as far as the oblivious ones, and more so since I think we hit more on the empathetic ones, air quotes, yet again. And again, the name of the book is called Black for a Day, White Fantasies of Race and Empathy by Alicia Gaines. I started reading this about a month ago, and the funniest part about it is I read it in between times while I'm at work, or I hear something or see something that catches my attention. Like, let me go back to this book. Just based off the experiments and all of this shit, and it's like, it's, again, systemic. And again, to echo the same thing, it's an uncomfortable conversation white folks don't want to have. And a lot of black people, I've come to realize, don't want to have that conversation as well, because it breaks down a lot of, shit, it goes into religion and so on and so forth. So for that, knowing how black people feel about, you know what I'm saying, their religion and so on and so forth like that.
Their religion? Their religion. Yeah, I'm adding brevity to it. Their religion.
But yeah, their religion and how emotionally impacted they are by that. But in the same sense, again, as much as, you know what I'm saying, the word woke and all of this shit comes from, there's a lot of people that don't know the origins of what they believe in. But that's neither here nor there. That's for a later podcast. If not,
we got to do that one soon. We got to do that one.
Yeah. But yeah, again, like, you know, it's falsehoods, it's false consciousness, I'm trying to be liked, I'm trying to be down, you know, 17 like Brandy, and you just want to be down type shit.
You just want to be down.
And you just want to be down, and it's like you will never fully grasp it, because for one, you can't put yourself in the shoes of us, and vice versa. That's why, so like, again, Joe was talking about earlier about divisive, and, you know, empathetic. I think that's a powerful word, empathetic. Especially if you know what I'm saying, you fully engage in that, you fully have that, you show action in that. But again, that's neither here nor there at this particular juncture. If anything,
let me ask you something, brother.
Go ahead.
Do you believe that there are any empathetic, like, non-people of color?
I believe it to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, how empathetic can you be? You know what I'm saying? You're not dealing with it. You don't see it on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you know, I get that you have, you know, people not of color that are activists and so on and so forth and fight for rights, and even, you know, in Jim Crow era, so on and so forth, and they were scolded and beaten and shit, possibly even killed for, you know what I'm saying, jumping on the quote-unquote wrong side of things, our side. But to say fully empathetic, I don't know. I really don't know, because I feel like empathy to a certain extent disguises a lot of shit. Because you get a lot of your backhanded, you know what I'm saying, comments that make it seem like you're not really fully empathetic.
It sounds like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you are focusing on a certain type of person within that. Like, that's why I'm asking you. Because my experience, I haven't dealt with, most of the people I've dealt with haven't fit that, you know what I'm saying? The backhanded, because you keep bringing that up. That's why I'm asking. Like, they're not showing it towards me. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying it seems like you dealt with a lot of motherfuckers who, despite the attempts at showing empathy or pretending to be empathetic, are just using it to be underhanded, to patronize.
Oh, you asking me?
I'm not asking. I'm reflecting on what you're saying. I'm saying it seems like that's what you dealt. Well, I guess it kind of is. Like, is that what you predominantly dealt with? Is people who are like that? Is instead of being empathetic, truly empathetic, they are just using that as a device to be underhanded or to be a patronizer.
Not directly with me, because I pick up on that shit very easily, but I see it like how they interact and interject with other people. So that lets me know it's like, okay, well, I don't know if this person picks up on it, but I damn sure pick up on it, and I can't fuck with you like that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you can already show your hand to me already. Like, again, my father always told me, you know what I'm saying, sometimes it's best not to say shit because, you know, you let people tell on themselves. Just standing there just listening. And I like them conversations we used to have while we was all in the smoke pit in the Navy. It's like, this motherfucker just tried to say some backhanded shit like I wasn't going to pick up on it. Then you get off in their ass and they're egregiously apologetic about it and trying to be your best buddy or your best bud, for lack of a better term.
No, I get what you
nigga. I peep what you done did, and I peep what you done said. So, you know, say fuck around for me, and your best bet is not to say this shit again, because it ain't gonna go just smoothly the next time. I'm punching this shit. I want the truly empathetic allies out there to know that there is a space for you. But if you're doing any of this shit, the reasons that I'm highlighting what Brother Steph has been saying is just like I'm saying, there's a space for you as an ally. Just like if I'm a man and I take up a feminist cause, there's a space for me, but I shouldn't, like, step over the boundaries of that space. I should respect the boundaries of that space. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't truly empathize, like he's saying, what a woman's gonna feel like being a feminist if she's felt some type of slight against us, that she's been, you know, ostracized or that she's been marginalized. I can be like, oh shit, I'm a black man. I feel like, yeah, that's true. But shit, even in the black community, we have problems we deal with. And that's what we're trying to get you to understand. Like, you should approach this shit as being an ally, not like you here to solve the problem. You here to be a part of the person, part of the committee to solve the problem. But when it comes to, when it comes to racism, strictly black and white racism, that's all on you. We ain't got to do shit to solve that problem. That's what I was talking about yesterday. So I was like, wait a minute. Now, we ain't got to, that's what I meant yesterday. Like, shit, I ain't about to tell no motherfucker how to treat me better. You need to come to that solution as a whole y'all selves. Like, it's low. That's what I was talking about earlier, too. Like, that's part of the power system, is us telling you how to treat us. How the fuck do I have to tell you how to treat me as a person? If you see me as a person, you know how to treat people. Right. So you get that shit together. Just and like again, if I'm a man and I'm mistreating a woman, it's on me to get that shit right. It's not for her to be like, well, I want to be treated this way. Like, nah, I should take, if I'm this fucking introspective, reflective, observant motherfucker I claim to be, I should know how to come to that solution. And my thing, again, is not, I'm glad you pointed that out, because as far as the truly empathetic people, I'm not talking, like, in no shape, form, or fashion. Because, like, I'm just talking about those that I see on a regular basis, daily, within my community, so on and so forth. And it's been, now that I think about it, it's been a few people that were truly, like, not as far as where I work and no shit like that. I'm talking about out in the field, just out speaking with, and you know what I'm saying? They get it. But in the same sense, again, I'm not referring to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the ones strictly that, air quotes, are empathetic, that show empathetic, but in the same sense have underlined racial comments to say, or racial action. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, if they just would have did this differently, again, like I pointed out, the whole me driving home from work late night with a hoodie on and my wallet's in my hood pocket and I get shot. What could I have done differently that would prevent me to get shot by a white officer? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna get shot regardless. So
that's the respectability politics. That shit exists in multiple, especially in the black culture. Like, because that's a part of the power too. Like, shit, if you weren't dressed that way, if you dress some way, like if your hair didn't look a certain way, if you acted a certain way, you talked a certain way, you carried yourself a certain way, maybe it wouldn't happen. Oh, they right about that shit though, because it's not like there's ever been a period where people march up and down the streets in fucking suits and shit and got their ass beat and dog sick on them and water hoses and shit. So yeah, I'm gonna give them that point. They right.
As always, this is another riveting episode of The Last Time We Spoke. Appreciate y'all listening. I hope I offended some of y'all, at least with my topic. You bitch you. Get out there and travel. Have a positive energy and positive shit will come back your way. Karmic energy is very real for those that are disillusioned by it. Rate, comment, subscribe, like, all that good shit. As always, I am Steph, Saginaw Soul. You bitch you. So,
for anybody who saw. Anybody who heard this and felt like it might want to trigger them to action, or you offended, good. Just like he's saying, this is what you can do for the New York listeners. Senator Jesse Hamilton from the 20th Democrat from the 20th Senate District is trying to introduce a bill, Senate Bill S9149, and the purpose of this bill is this bill is meant to further punish the falsely reporting of a crime if the motivation for reporting such crime is motivated by a perception or belief about their race, color, national origin, ancestry, gender, religion, religious practice, age, disability, or sexual orientation. So he's trying to make it a hate crime to call the police on somebody just for existing while being a person of color or any of these other things that have been that I've said in this purpose. So we need to put a stop to all that bullshit y'all doing, just calling the police because people are who they are. International Joe signing off.
Yeah, for young Dullah, that town where I go. Y'all know me, how I feel about boxing. I want to say to the people out there who's interested in getting their child into the sport of boxing, the best sport in the world, just know that you have to be very, 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 very careful with who you let train your child. Too many people, too many parents out there letting their children get into boxing, and then that same child becomes an older, punch-drunk man. You know what I'm saying? So don't let someone train your child to be the next Rocky. Let them train your child to be, in boxing, the next Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Someone who's going to know how to box, know how to move. It's more important to know how to move and when to engage than to take a punch, take two punches just to get off one big shot. So I say that because yesterday when I went down there to the fight here in Indy, man, some people, old friends that I can see, some people older than me, the generation above me, and I can see that effect that boxing had on them. And I know that the trainers ain't shit, for lack of better words. And I was looking at my son who wants to box now, who's 6 years old, and there's no way I would let any of these fools train me. That's all I gotta say. Be careful who you let train your child.
Oh, there's a difference from what I'm gathering, being the novice boxing fan I am. There's a difference between boxing and actually fighting.
Yep.
The sweet science. That's the reason why it's called that.
Yep.
As always, like, share, subscribe, comment on whatever platforms we are on. This is the last time we spoke. We appreciate y'all listening. We out.
Thursday.
West Side, though.